Today we chat with MDT CEO Maarten van Ruitenburg. We spoke about the company philosophy, some new products. We also touched on their new electronic trigger. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation as much as I did. Without further ado, let's jump straight into the episode. While you're at it, if you haven't subscribed, do that now, and I'll see you guys at the start of the episode. All right, Maarten, welcome to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, Maarten van Ruitenburg, CEO of MDT, joins us today on the podcast. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So we've obviously come a hell of a long way. My channel, you guys, I was a customer at first. This is way back in 2017. And the real reason I found MDT, I don't know if you know this, by the way, but exporting a chassis from the US to South Africa is an absolute nightmare. However, Canada doesn't have that same ITAR issue. So that's when I found the ESS, immediately fell in love with it. And my first MDT chassis was a FDE ESS for my little Howard 223 training rifle. So that's sort of where my journey started. So tell me a little bit, who is Maarten van Ruitenburg before we sort of deep dive into the history of MDT?
All right. Yeah, that's an interesting question. Something I'm still trying to figure out myself in some ways, but I started well, I have a history in sales and marketing as well as operations and supply chain. That's what I was doing before MDT. So I've been, I met the founder of MDT, whose name is Laszlo Clementis, back in 2012. So over 10 years ago now. And he needed help with, at the time we were, or MDT was a half-person company selling a few chassis here and there. And I actually didn't run into him originally. I ran into the owner of the machine shop where Laszlo was making his chassis and had his office.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. And yeah, we got connected. I started doing sales. I went to SHOT Show very closely thereafter and worked hard to get as many contacts as I could. And ended up buying half the company from him and eventually more. But yeah, that's, over the last 10 years, a lot has happened. So it's starting with one product back then to, I don't even know how many we have anymore, but it's hundreds of products. You look at all the SKUs, it will be thousands, right?
I know. The general public probably has no idea, because obviously I have my online store where we move a lot of MDT product to. And the general public has no idea what your price list looks like with the amount of individual items that's on there. I cannot imagine managing that.
Yeah, it's a tough thing to manage. I remember back in the day, in 2012, 13, I would take our price list and make the font really big, so at least it would look like it would fill up a page. Now we look for how can we remove SKUs with colors and to make everything a little bit simpler, because it's pages and pages and pages.
Yeah, it's crazy, especially once you do colors, because if you have two options or two products, but you have 5 color options in every product, I always say options kill you, because it's so much inventory. Yeah. And funny, you guys actually, when you offer a ACC, for example, in blue, it'll be an FDE or a black one that gets stripped and then repainted in blue, just because you can't do the stock and actually keep blue in stock. Is that still the case? Because I know that used to be the case a few years ago.
Yeah, that used to be the case, not anymore.
Okay.
We started doing more and more of the colors, and back then it was just a few here and there. We also charged a lot more for the different color, where that's come down. Now we have switched much more to having the raw chassis just go directly through our paint shop and be painted the color it should be. Doesn't mean that we don't ever repaint a chassis again, because you may just completed a run of ACC chassis. You're not running them again for a month or something like that, and somebody wants a specific color, you don't have it. Either that person has to wait 2 months, or you just repaint the chassis. So it does still happen.
Yeah, taking Cerakote off something is a very labor-intensive job. It's designed not to come off. So in an ideal world, you don't want to be doing that.
Yeah, no, it is difficult. Yeah, it takes a while.
Yeah. Are you guys still having your Cerakote, or is it the robotic Cerakote systems that we're seeing now, or is it still a person doing it by hand?
No, we looked at 3 or 4 people doing it by hand. We looked at the robotic painter. It's very cool. We use robotics or MDT, more on the machine side. But for paint, we were not able to make it economical. and we were not able to achieve the quality that we wanted because it does take somebody with a good eye to do it real well.
Mm.
We had sometimes paint 6, 7, 800 chassis in a day, and three people can do that much more efficient. You still have to have a person load up a fixture for the robot,
Yeah.
and then they have to take it off. So it's still labor. There's still labor involved, and yeah, you can use a robot for that too, of course. A different one, but
Mm.
no, it's the payback just wasn't there for us.
Interesting.
Now, keep in mind, if we were a more of a run-of-the-mill shop that had less of a quality standard, it probably would be okay. But we really want everything to be perfect.
Of course, of course. So take me through this journey. Like, so you invest in MDT or you buy half the company. This was what year was this?
2013.
Okay, and at that point, the only chassis which you guys still make, the Tag 21, is like the only product they have. Now, along that journey, because I find this fascinating about business people, because I'm like a business person. I just make YouTube videos about guns, but I'm fascinated with business. So that sort of growth trajectory, like what would you say, the biggest thing that that helped that move that needle to take you guys, essentially in 10 years to where you are today, which probably one, if not the most, premier brand in the sort of precision rifle chassis system market?
Yeah, it is sort of a broad question. We have a relentless drive to be awesome. We use the word legendary inside of the company. We want to be legendary in the products that we make and how we do it, the service that we provide. So we pay a lot of attention to the people, employees, customers, whoever they are, and we pay a lot of attention to the product. Look, we make mistakes, and we certainly, taken some wrong steps over the years, but that's how you learn. But we always go extremely hard after making just a super great product and making sure that everybody that does business with us, buys from us, is completely satisfied with what they get. So that's why we have the 30-day satisfaction guarantee. Like basically, you can buy it. If you don't like it, send it back for whatever reason. Lifetime against manufacturing defects, of course. But even if somebody's outside of those warranty periods and it needs help, like we're always there to help. We have an extremely responsive customer support team. In general, they get back to anybody within 2 business hours. That was also something early on at MDT. Was in the firearms industry, the people would get back to you in 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, and that was the discussions that we had. I said, no, I really want to just give what the people want. People don't want to wait for an answer, so let's just be fast. It's just a continual drive to be better.
I've dealt with your customer service team a few times with because shipping stuff internationally to me, dealing with our post office and stuff like that. And always amazing whether you're dealing with Blake or whoever you're dealing with. It's been really cool. And I can attest to that too. I've obviously met a large portion of your team at SHOT Show, and I deal with some of the marketing guys, for the YouTube stuff. And you guys really do have freaking awesome people working for you. And that's invaluable. And it shows in the whole company, sort of the image of the company.
Yeah, thank you for that, because that's probably the biggest compliment that anybody can give us is our people, and we put a lot of effort into hiring the right people. And I am most definitely very proud of the team that we have. It's a super awesome group.
Yeah. So for the guys that perhaps didn't see this a few years ago, Maarten gave how did this work? A few people got 6.5 Creedmoors, like custom builds. What was the story there?
Yeah, at the time it was all the employees that we had, actually.
That's super cool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really like to talk about it much because it was really, yeah. Basically, the bottom line is at the time I had a private equity partner that I no longer have. I bought him out last year. And part of the agreement that I had with him, even though I was still part owner, was that at the end of the year, based on a certain amount of performance, that I would get a bonus. And that's I use that money for those rifles, basically.
Oh, that's super cool, man. Investing back into the people. And then on that note, you guys have like sort of a team building thing, right? The MDT, is it called the Kick-Ass Extravaganza, or what is it called?
Kick-Ass Extravaganza, yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, and what does that entail?
That basically, so we don't want to just be a great company and and have everybody just not can't just do a good job and go home. We really want people to really be part of it and understand the products. So we do a lot of different things to make sure that employees understand our products. So all employees get a ammo allowance every month. That is there specifically so they go shoot it, not to stock up, but we want to basically encourage them to go shooting on a very regular basis and cover the cost for it. We also have a program where, I mean, of course, our employees can buy from the company at a significant discount, basically at a level where we don't make money on it. We don't want to make money off of our employees. Or if they can't afford that, they can loan from the company for a period of years, I believe it's set up for, and then give it back and return it for something else to make it as easy as possible for them to go shooting. And then once a month during the better months of the year, we have what is our kick-ass extravaganza, but it's just a match between all employees. Sometimes it's fairly well attended, sometimes it's a group of 10 or 15 or something like that, or maybe even less sometimes. We might go down to do that a little less than once a month because it kind of becomes this, where people are like, oh, it's there again for the people that don't shoot as much. But yeah, it's a very fun event, and we're probably going to go more to 4 times a year or even twice a year. And
Yeah,
bring
four
food.
times a year is much more manageable than every month. It's a lot of work. Yeah.
It is a lot of work, yeah.
Yeah, and especially if you say like the people that don't shoot, like for them, it's not like something to look forward to potentially.
That's
Um,
exactly right.
so who's like the top dog at these matches? Who's the guy to beat?
Um,
No pressure.
well, so I have won the last couple years, but it's not really fair because Ryan McLean and
Hmm.
Josh Botha, they are definitely better shooters than I am. And I feel that I only won because either they were just helping other shooters more than I was. I think in one case, Josh was using a gun that was not the best for that kind of setup. If they put their minds to it, they would most definitely beat me. There's a few others that work very hard to try to beat me in it, and they would most definitely be able to, especially this year because I've been shooting less this year than I normally have.
I actually, if I find myself in Canada and we can sort of dovetail one of those events, it would be super cool to like shoot with the team and get to know guys sort of more outside of outside of work for that matter. That would
And
be
I would
very
definitely
fun.
beat you at that match. I have no
Of
question about
course you would. um, so take me through like an average day in the of the CEO of MDT.
Oh, that is a very impossible thing to describe, I think.
Okay, let me give you some. Do you have like a little bit of a set routine you do in the morning? Because what I found is a lot of successful people they have like a sort of morning little thing they do, whether it is quiet time with themselves and God, or I need like 5 coffees and then I'm ready to go, or because obviously from a business owner point of view, you've got stuff coming in all of the time. So not necessarily from an admin point of view, but like, are there certain routines you like to follow to set yourself up for success?
That is sort of true. I'm a very non-routine person, but over the years I've learned that I need at least some of it. So when I wake up at 6 in the morning. First thing I do is make a coffee and I read in my Bible while I drink my coffee. That's the first bit, and then I either go to the gym or I go to the basement to the Peloton. I go to the gym 3 times a week. I have a trainer there, and I'm very happy I did that. So by between 6 and 8 o'clock, that's what my mornings look like. 8:30 is when I get to the office. I check some emails, and depending on which day it is, there will be some meetings. We are in Chilliwack here now in 3 locations. So one morning of the week, I have coffee at one of the locations, and I meet with people, management team, whatever. It's more of a casual meeting, and a different day of the week, I do it at one of the other locations. I'm at our main office most of the time. When I say most of the time, is all the time I'm there, but I'm all over the place. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
it's a very non it's kind of sort of sporadic. I go over the last year, as you know, I've been working on my pilot's license, so that's taken some of my time. I would do that in the afternoons or something like that. Yeah, but there's a decent amount of meetings that I got to be part of and enjoy being part of. We have weekly meetings that go in that are product development, for example, and yeah, but it's hard to after 8 o'clock. There's no real routine anymore.
Yeah, just take it as it comes.
Yeah.
So it's very good. I mean that you guys, as a CEO, the challenge a lot of people obviously have is putting people in place and letting go of responsibilities, and that's something that I struggled with for a long time in my life because I tried to do like everything, and I kind of still have that problem to a large extent, especially with this medium YouTube, because I still edit all my own videos, and that's highly inefficient uses of my time. But I'm working on letting that go. So MDT as a company, how many chassis do you guys sell annually?
A lot.
Is that a number we can talk about?
Well, I don't know the exact number because it
Yeah.
fluctuates. As you know, and as people know, we do business with a fair amount of OEMs and manufacturers like Savage and Mossberg, Winchester Browning, Colt, and a number more.
And
And
then possibly what a lot of people don't realize is you guys have the military context, right?
we do some military work, that is correct. Some police. Police is kind of interesting because it's usually fairly small orders because it's individual departments, even though we've done things like FBI and all that as well. And then it depends on the country. But yeah, the OEM business is the majority of our business. But we are very end user focused. So we always build our products to make it the best possible for the end user. So, you take something like our ACC chassis, that's very popular for the competition style shooter. And then we realized, well, with feedback from our shooting team and different people, well, if we just had this and that, and just minor little changes, we just keep making it better, and then you get the ACC Elite. Maybe a couple of years from now we have a Gen 2 of that, or maybe we call it something else. I don't really know. But the quantity, first of all, if I were to say a number, it'd probably be somewhat incorrect. And we're a fairly transparent company, but we'll say it's in the tens of thousands.
That's an incredible task to manufacture and ship and all the stuff to do that. That's crazy. So out of your chassis you make, which one would you say, or perhaps I'll rephrase this question. Take me through your perfect rifle. If you could only have one rifle to do a little bit of everything with, what would it be chambered in, and what chassis system would you drop that in, or would you drop it in a chassis system, or would you perhaps go for something like this? And for the guys listening on audio, I'm pointing over my shoulder to the new Timber behind me, which is more sort of a traditional stock.
Sure. So it's probably before I answer that, it's probably important to identify that I love shooting and I do it a fair amount. But if I compare myself to a number of people that are total gun nuts, I'm not at that level. I don't reload because it drives me crazy. I just can't do it. So I go after a caliber where I can get a very good quality factory round. And so I started shooting Hornady 6.5 Creedmoor. I switched to Hornady 6 Creedmoor. That has been, I can't outshoot that personally. I had it last year. I was shooting with Keith Baker. He built a rifle for me. I was shooting it at 6 Creedmoor. And at one point we did a 5-shot group and we had an SD of 2.3. And how do you mess with that, right? So 6 Creedmoor is what I shoot. I like it. I don't hunt much. When I do, I'm with a customer somewhere or something. So it'd be 6 Creedmoor for me. And which chassis? If I can only have one, I would probably go with our XRS chassis because you can probably keep it light enough for a hunting trip, and you can load it up and make it a real good solid setup to shoot at a match somewhere.
That's exactly what I would choose.
Yeah, you can do similar things with others. I mean, you wouldn't choose an ACC because it's always heavy. You wouldn't really choose an H&T because it's super light and it's yeah. We had the other day. I mean, we have people that ask to add weights to their HNT chassis.
So the best way to shave some weight off your build is to add these MDT lightweight weights. They're really a game changer.
Which is interesting to me, and I kind of get it, if because I think they did want that ultimate chassis, but they want to use it for some other circumstances, so that's okay. But yeah, no, I think the XRS is it, man.
Yeah, I love the XRS. I mean, I will literally, I've got ACC, I've got essentially everything you guys make, and I'll often switch back to the XRS, even without any weights in my 6 dasher, because it's it's a dasher, and I'll just run it at matches. I freaking think you guys nailed it, and especially at the price point, this is starting to sound like an ad, but it's such good value for money. And the fact that there's an upgrade path to it where you could take it to like a heavier thing and the enclosed forend. That's super cool that you guys also keep adding to products like that. And you also recently added the walnut sort of accessory pack for that, which I think gives it a unique little look.
Yeah, that is a pretty cool setup. It's very expensive. I would sell that for cheaper, but making those little actually making something out of wood is very simple, but having it look good and having sanding it several times and finishing it, man, it becomes an expensive part, but it makes it look very.
Yeah, I'm still wanting to get my hands on one of those just because it looks cool and it's different. I have one of your wooden grips on my AR just because it gives it that little something that you don't really see every day on an AR, and I love that.
That's true. Yeah.
If you're hunting, you say you don't hunt often, you're hunting with clients and stuff like that. I mean, we've spoken about potentially doing something, you coming out here for a trip and visiting us in South Africa. I've just got, funny enough, Gavin has just booked his flights from Ultimate Reloader, so he should be here hunting with me in the next couple of weeks. So we're very excited. We're going to shoot all my rifles because he left it too late and he doesn't have the permit, so we'll just shoot my rifles. But I'm super excited to take him hunting here. So hopefully we can do that in the future with you.
Yeah, I hope so as well. I'm looking forward to that. I mean, just even seeing the landscape in South Africa there, I just want to see some animals that here we only see in the zoo, right? And that'd be pretty cool.
Then we should go shark cage diving.
What diving?
We should go shark cage diving, great white sharks, just off the coast of Hermanus.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, it's something that I did. I won a golf day, like a longest dry thing. And then I went shark cage diving, but I also love the ocean because our whole family, my parents, they live by the ocean. And so I grew up surfing and bodyboarding and all those things. And then after I went on this shark cage diving thing, I'm so freaking scared to be in the ocean now, but I might as well go again because I'm not swimming out at the back there anymore. Especially because the place where we go shark cage diving is about 20 kilometers across the ocean. In like you can see the place where I go shark cage diving from where we surf. So I'm like, nope.
Yeah. I did swim with or snorkel with sharks earlier this year, but they were reef sharks, very harmless. So that's great. Why seeing that would be interesting.
It's very special. Just the size and the power where you could like see it in their eyes. And what was very eerie for me is as the one sort of swam by, he like individually looked at every single person that was in the cage next to me, and you could see that like there's a little bit of a higher intelligence than some of the other fish that I've had experience with.
Yeah. Well, now you make me want to come there even more.
There's so many cool things to do. One of the things that I really love what you guys do is you do these special big production YouTube videos. Okay, we had the one with the ridiculously tall scope mount, and then we had the one with the ridiculously long barrel. Can you guys spill the beans on a project you're working on? Maybe give us a little bit of a teaser. Is there something like that in the pipeline to look forward to?
I have to think. Usually they aren't planned out that far ahead of time. The thinking behind the crazy stuff is it's not really hey, let's think of something crazy. It really is, the way that I often think is when you have an argument about something, you're trying to find something out, is to take it to the opposite ends of the extremes. And because you can learn so much from that. So the scope base was something that I just heard for so many years. Our TAC 21 chassis, our original chassis, has the scope base built in, and it sits higher up. And we would hear people say, well, your scope's too high, can't do it, affects accuracy, affects this, affects that. And I knew that was not the case, but we never really proved it other than theoretically. So what's the best way of doing it? So I had asked the engineer to make a high scope base. And to be honest with you, I was expecting something that was 5-6 inches tall. And so it was important for them that they videoed me as they brought it out, and I was kind of shocked. I was like, how are you going to shoot that? And it was a bit of a challenge figuring that out. But it gives such cool results. So it's the same thing with long
Mm.
barrels and other things. Anything new? I can't think of anything right now. There probably is things, but you'll have to see.
Yeah.
Whoever
Keep
watching it
us
is going
keep us waiting.
to, you know?
Absolutely. One of the things that I found very interesting from when because obviously you can't buy a 30-foot barrel, right? So the guy was explaining how he machined the barrels so that when they thread them into each other, the rifling would line up perfectly. And I thought that was such a smart thing to do because immediately when I saw the barrel, I was like, this is going to be a problem with this. But I mean, they thought of that.
Yeah, no, some very talented people we work with. You know, that rifling, we didn't do that ourselves, right? I mean, we don't make
Mm.
barrels, but yeah, no, it is. It's cool stuff. I love the exploring, you know, and then figuring out what happens if you do this, what happens if you do that. Super awesome.
So what would you say is the coolest part about, having built this company to the point where it is today?
It's trying things that that haven't been done before. Like we are not just looking to be a company that runs kind of nicely and makes a couple products, makes a bit of money, and go home and sit in a chair. Like we truly are wanting to build something that is unique and better and on its own. And so this is from a company perspective of who we are as a company, and it's the products that we make. So it is really cool that we have a large group of people that want the same, coming up with things that haven't been done before. So take, for example, our electronic trigger. To this
Yeah.
day, like we started that 3 years ago or something like that. And actually, the way that we started it was we did I learned that in software companies they have hackathons where they try to figure something out and make something, and they're like programming through the night until they get it done. I don't know exactly how it worked, but well, let's try that in the engineering department. So I said, can you guys do a hackathon kind of thing, but come up with a trigger design that is better than anything out there? And they came out of it and said, well, what's out there is kind of like as good as it gets. And they couldn't come up with a way to make it better. And how arrogant was I to think that they could just overnight come up with something better, right? When everybody's already put so much time into it. But then we realized that some of the things that were issues with existing triggers, which is reliability and movement in general, were items that we could accomplish with electronics. So that has been in the works for a long time now. We're doing this together with Infinition, which is the company that makes the lab radar. They're really awesome people. And we have really well working prototypes. We have done communication to the beta testers that signed up for it, but to make it consistently trigger after trigger the same, that has been an extreme challenge for us at the moment with such small little parts in there. It's also become a very expensive item to manufacture, and to this day, I don't actually know for sure whether it will be a commercial viable product. Maybe it will never hit the market. I don't think so. We're going to keep pushing forward with it, and maybe people are willing to spend 500 or $1,000 or whatever the trigger will be, because it is like when you shoot it. Like I think you tried it at SHOT Show. It is
Yeah.
it is something else when you try it. It just feels completely different. All the movement is gone at the zero stage. But that's what I love, like trying new things, figuring it out, and we're okay if we fail, and that's how you're really going to learn.
It was very interesting for me after SHOT Show when you guys dropped that sort of initial teaser of the electronic trigger to see the chatter online with people's opinion about this trigger and why it won't work and everything. But I'd actually experienced it, and they were telling about how it's going to feel, and it's something I wish I could have everybody experience because it is very, very unique.
Yeah, that is for sure. Yeah.
And I think that
we'll actually release it next year.
Okay.
But it's a tough one.
I've got some really cool ideas for that project that we could potentially talk about after this call. that could be some good data points, but it won't surprise me if you guys have already thought of those kind of things. So I'll make a mental note to do that. So what is next for MDT? Obviously, there's always new projects and things, and we can't necessarily chat about them. But are you guys continuing? We'll see you at SHOT Show in January again. I obviously missed this last year, and I've had major FOMO. But yeah, it's always good meeting up with the team there at SHOT. I think next should be I come visit you guys.
Yeah, you should come visit us, especially since you came so extremely close to where we were recently.
I
And
know. But you
yeah, it's okay.
Canadians want visas from me.
Well, and rightfully so. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yes, yeah, we will definitely be at SHOT Show. We will have new products there. We are releasing a number of new products in the next few weeks, even during the summer, and that we are very excited about. We're getting into some new product segments, and that's all I can say about that part.
Okay, exciting. Because I think MDT as a company, you're very focused more sort of on my type of shooter. Whereas if I listen to what you're saying earlier with, if the largest part of your business is sort of the OEM side, dealing with Savage, like they're more focused on just selling to like the oak walking into a gun store and buying a rifle off the shelf, If you service that market segment more, it's so much bigger than, the precision rifle crowd. So
Well,
that's
it's not necessarily about being that it's bigger, because of course, you're making these things for, even high volume at low margins kind of thing. At the end of the day, it comes back to being very end user focused. We want to make it extremely easy for anybody to buy our products. And there's a large portion of people that don't want to put a rifle together themselves or want to buy something that's just ready to go. And we are not going to sell rifles. So there's only one option: partner with these OEMs that make it. And we believe that we are able to help them come up with a product that has been extremely thought out, so that the end user buys it with an MDT chassis on it. It's as good as it gets.
I think those Savage 300 PRCs, if you're looking for a long range sort of out the box rifle where you could just rock up at a match and have a ton of fun and not be limited by a rifle, that's probably one of the better buys you can have.
Yeah, and there's others. There's a lot of good buys out there, also in the rimfire world, actually.
Yeah, it's something I need to get back into a little bit. But the rimfire stuff, we're sort of still on the sort of back end of that supply chain shortage. So we're feeling the brunt of that now. So hopefully soon we'll start getting some stuff in. But man, shooting has gotten so expensive here in South Africa. Did you know that you could roughly double the price of everything in South Africa? So like a box of bullets, you can double it. Everything is the cost of shooting here is super high. But it's just a matter of there's too many hands in the pie. It's shipping from the US more than likely, then goes to a distributor, then it's all the taxes and the stuff that come with that. So it kind of is what it is. But shooting is proper expensive here. So when I do these new matches that we're doing, we have the round count nice and low. It's 36 rounds. If you want to shoot the bonus stage afterwards, it's 39 rounds. And that kind of makes it more affordable for the guys. But interesting, circling back to the Canada thing and the visa. Canada seems to be on a freaking mission with regards to sort of bolt guns. We have pristine actions down the road from you guys, if I'm not mistaken. We've got Laszlo Dem from IBI. In fact, the rifle behind me has got an IBI barrel on, and a lot of my rifles do. So Canada seems to be like a little bit of a hub for, precision rifle stuff at the moment, which is very exciting.
Yeah, and that's Chilliwack in specific. But Laszlo and I started IBI together, and when we had bought Laszlo out of MDT, he had bought me out of IBI. So I mean, there is relations there. But yeah, no, Canada has some of the record holders of the longest kill shots and all that, right? I mean, there's a lot of good shooters in Canada as well. So it's yeah, and we got, even though it's not that easy to find a spot to go shoot long range here, we have a lot of land that is wide open.
I think for us here in South Africa, we don't really appreciate the scale of how big American Canada is. Like it's a 2-hour flight for me, and I'm on the other side of our country. Like, good luck with that in America. It doesn't exist.
Maybe 6 hours for us, yeah.
Yeah, it's hectic. But Maarten, it's been super fun, sharing some of your perspectives with us on the show. Thanks for all the stuff you guys do for the community and always pushing the envelope with bringing new products out and even reviving old products like the JAE. I know a lot of people are excited for that. I was so excited to be able to get my hands on one of those because when I just got into shooting, that was like, if you had a J. Allen, you were the bee's knees. And to see them sort of back in the wild is super cool. So thanks for that.
Yeah, we love being part of it. It's a super cool business to be in, and super also the people that we deal with. I don't know what it is, but always willing to help others out and all that. So we just love being part of it.
It's an amazing community to be part of. It's the shooting community is one of a kind.
For sure. Yeah,
awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Well, Maarten, thank you very much. Where can people find you? You're on the Instagram, even though you're not like a big social media guy, but you are on Instagram and on Facebook. And that's also something I have to commend you on personally. I've seen on numerous occasions where you're commenting on a Facebook post and answering like customer relations questions or guiding somebody. That's super cool. That's not something you see often from like somebody running such a large company.
Yeah, it's, if I see a question, why not answer it, right?
Exactly.
But again, it comes back down to we want to be better than anybody else. The best place to be is close with our end user.
Amazing. Maarten, thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to chat with us. And guys, thanks for listening to the podcast. Make sure you are subscribed to both my channel and MDT's channel so we can see all the cool stuff that they're figuring out for us. And with that said, we will see you guys in the next episode. Cheers.